I'm Liz Spencer, and welcome to Business Connection, introducing you to the names and faces of Naperville area entrepreneurs and business owners. Today we go on location to Play and Thrive and welcome Congregation Beth Shalom, but stay tuned for Oasis Senior Advisors, all here on Business Connection. You're watching Business Connection, and we're learning more about Oasis Senior Advisors. Thank you both for being here today.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
So let's start with you, Jennifer. Tell me, what is Oasis Senior Advisors?
Yes, Oasis Senior Advisors is a free service to seniors and their families that helps to educate and connect them to senior living resources and care options or placement options in communities if they need that, working through really the whole continuum of care.
Wow, that's wonderful. Now, Alan, you are no stranger to NCTV. You're part of our Seniors Today show, and you've been on Business Connection before. And you have now sold your business to Jennifer. So tell me how that came about and why that's a good thing.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not retiring. A lot of people thought I was retiring. I was just transitioning away from being a business owner, but still passionate about helping people. I've loved the last 9 years, almost 10 of what I've done. And so at some point, Jennifer contacted me. She was interested in opening up her own Oasis. And at the time, the business was up for sale. So that was the first phone call. I told her, well, you probably want to know the business is for sale. And then it happened March of this year. And I couldn't be more excited to have her because she has the same passion, care for people, attention to high quality customer service that I always wanted to present and did present. So it's great to have her as the owner, and I'm happy to be working with her.
That's awesome. Well, I think you guys are a good team. So tell me a little bit. I will start with you, Jennifer. Why do you do what you do? It's a tough profession.
It is, but there's so much purpose in what we do, and it is filling a need out there. And that's just the kind of person that I am, the kind of person that Alan is. You know, you feel called to step forward and fill that need and help people and help support them and be an advocate. So, you know, for me, 30 years of working in the long-term care industry, everything from in-home community-based care, older adult protective services with area agency on aging, independent, assisted memory care, and skilled nursing care. And I was very excited to be able to bring my knowledge to reconnect with people, to be able to serve and to fill that need. You know, at some point in my career, I was able to work up through, into corporate positions, and those were great. And I felt I had a bigger impact and a wider impact on more lives. But my background was social services when I first started. And so I was starting to feel disconnected from my purpose of why I came in. And so to be able to get back to that purpose for me certainly fills my cup back up. It just feels good to be of service in a very useful area for people at a time when, they're many times feeling overwhelmed and sometimes even in crisis.
Absolutely. Well, and it's with all that background in senior care, you bring a lot to the table. So that's awesome too. Alan, what keeps you going?
It is the interaction with people at a very personal level. After 9 years of being in the business, the first thing that pops into my head is somebody called me this year that I helped first time 6 years ago. And the fact that they remember me to call me back 6 years later tells me, I think, that I've been serving people at a very high level. And so that's humbling, but also it's rewarding. And like Jennifer, I don't generally use the term fill my cup, but that's what it is. Help people in a tremendous time of need. I don't think it ever gets more difficult than when you're a child or a senior that has to care for a spouse or a mom and dad. There's so many factors that people get stressed about. And you don't have success unless you knock down each of those stress barriers to get ultimately to the situation where somebody has peace of mind around the care they're providing for their loved one. So I still love it, still passionate about it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the continuum of care that you give. So I'm an adult child, I have a parent, and I know that they need more help than I can provide. What happens next? I call one of you, and then what? How does Oasis help me and take me forward with you?
Yeah. And so, I think one of the things that's very important to note, as we talk through this process is, what you're going to hear is what sets us apart at the end of the day, and that's the personalized approach. Mm-hmm. So it's bringing our knowledge. Alan's 9+ years of working as a senior advisor, being a certified senior advisor, my 30 years of working in the industry. So when someone picks up the phone, they're getting someone who is knowledgeable. First and foremost, we're going to listen. It's where we have to start. I need to understand your story. I need to know what's going on. I can't help until I understand. Mm-hmm. So we don't do a whole lot of talking initially. We do a whole lot of asking questions. Thank you for calling. What brings you to us today? Tell me who you're looking for. What's the situation? Where are they currently? Let's learn a little bit about the backstory. And so we're taking some notes from there, right, that are relevant to the situation. We're listening, and our brains are usually already going a little bit at that point too, of like, okay, this sounds like maybe this, is what's appropriate for them as a next step. That helps us guide a few of our questions as well. And so the personalized approach comes in, and that our next step is to meet with them. And so depending upon where those folks are at, there's almost what Alan and I have talked about oftentimes, there's almost two kind of clients that we work with. And so one is that person who calls and maybe they're in the hospital, maybe they are in the skilled nursing facility and they're ready for discharge, and they maybe have a week or two and home is not safe. And so can't take mom or dad home or my aunt home. So what do I do now at this point? So those need to move along a little faster. So we may not have time to meet with them before we tour. We may be meeting with them on the tour. Mm-hmm. But in those cases, we're going to tour alongside them. That's so awesome. We're there with them every step of the way. We're helping to ask the questions that you don't know what you don't know, but we do. And so we help to answer some of those questions for you, ask some of the questions. And we help to tailor those tours by setting it up, teeing it up ahead of time so that the community that maybe we're touring at already has an idea of the backstory so that we don't have to repeat ourselves, right? Because it's hard, it's stressful, it's hard. We don't always want to keep repeating the same story. It's that can wear on us. It gets to be overwhelming. So we can help tee some of that up. We can help to narrow down the options. So they're not looking at 35 options. They're looking at 2 or 3 options. And so then we're taking them to those 2 or 3 options and educating them. And if for some reason that doesn't seem like the right fit, we can find some other options for them, right? But we will help to eliminate some of that time, narrow down the options, which can, eliminate some of the stress as well. And then that second vein of folks that we work with is those folks that it's more of a process. They're at home. Maybe they're pre-planning, which is a good thing to do. We want to have a plan ahead of time. And so those folks, we're being their advocate, we're educating them, we're making sure that they have a plan for the future. And, I've had a situation where I've been working with people and they're pre-planning, right? And all of a sudden needs change.
They're in crisis.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, but you know what? Because we've already been walking down that path, it was a much easier decision. We were able to get them to a place that fit their needs and be able to bring, some peace of mind to that family at the end of the day. So it's a very personalized approach that we bring to someone. So it's follow up and follow through as well. It's not just, okay, we're all done now, good luck. We follow up with them depending upon the person. Some people, one time you can see they're kind of settled and it's okay. Some people need a couple follow-ups. We want to help with that transition as well to make sure that they have a realistic view of what senior living is like if they're moving into a community, for example.
And you mentioned that this is a free service. So how do you all get paid?
So we're paid by communities.
Okay.
So as Jennifer said, we work the entire continuum. So that could be in-home care, adult day services, all the way to skilled nursing, but independent living, assisted memory care. We have agreements with those properties and they will reimburse us when a client places. I think an interesting comment that I would add to that, though, is what's also different about Oasis of Naperville and most Oasis franchise locations is we have agreements or we work with all properties, whether they pay us or not. Some properties don't, but often people in the know will ask, Alan, are you only taking me to places where you get paid? And the answer is no. Within our geography, we work with every community.
That's wonderful, because it is a very stressful time of life. And I love the quote, you don't know what you don't know, but we do,
Yeah.
because you are, and you're overwhelmed. As that adult child with, mom and dad are overwhelmed, the adult children is overwhelmed. So it's nice to make sure that you guys aren't overwhelmed so you can help me. So
Absolutely.
thank you guys for stopping by and explaining a little bit what you do. What you do is so valuable. So thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We'll be right back with more Business Connection.
Stay in the know, at home, or on the go with the NCTV 17 News Update. This quick recap of everything happening in and around town will be delivered straight to your email inbox for free. Sign up today.
Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We're at the corner of Route 59 and Ogden Avenue at Play and Thrive. I am so impressed with Play and Thrive, and tell me a little bit about the mission and when you got started here in Naperville.
In Naperville, we started work on this project back in 2019, and due to COVID, we had to relax a bit, and then we picked it up again. We opened this facility November last year, and then in 6 months, we have already crossed 30,000 check-ins.
Wow.
Across all sports. So we have badminton. This is the largest club for badminton in the Midwest. And then we have pickleball. We have 11 courts, which most people love it. We have volleyball. We have 2 courts where we have a lot of training going on as well. We do have batting cages where we encourage more cricket participants and baseball, softball, people to come and engage with us.
That's awesome. So you mentioned badminton. Talk to me a little bit about badminton here, but badminton in Naperville and what you're trying to do with the sport.
So badminton is a very interesting sport. This is a very intense sport compared to any other sports that you see, racket sports especially. So this is twice as intensive as tennis. So 2 hours of tennis is equal to 1 hour of badminton. And also the participation levels in badminton is pretty high. So many people want to come and play. And more importantly, kids love to train. So we have a very good training practice here where we have an Olympian who coaches kids in badminton. So with badminton, it's so addictive. Like you burn so many calories, it's pretty healthy. And also it's engaging. As a community, you come together and you have people, especially people who play doubles. You have 4 people playing in a court. Mm-hmm. So it's a very engaging kind of sport compared to other racket sports. And also this is the fastest racket sport on earth.
Wow.
So the birdie, the shuttle, can travel like more than 400 kilometers per hour. It's actually, there's a world record set in an Olympics game.
That's amazing.
It's incredible.
With badminton and what you're playing, what you're trying to do here, you can be someone who's a beginner and you can be training for Olympics. Tell me the different ways you can engage in badminton.
Certainly, yeah. So the whole premise of Play and Thrive was to bring communities together, families together. And we wanted to get away with this Uber driver phenomena, right? Like where parents are driving kids somewhere and they're sitting somewhere. Right. So the whole idea was, irrespective of your talent, skill level, we want to provide courts where people can come and play, open play, or they could be a member here. And they could also take training. So we have training for all age groups. So we have kids as young as 5-year-olds to adults who are as old as like 50 plus, 60 plus coming to train with our coaches. So the whole idea is to help them understand how to play the right way. Because of the perception that badminton is a backyard sport, we're trying to break that. So we want to teach them to play badminton the right way. And this facility provides, for all age groups and all skill levels.
That's wonderful. And I think that's very interesting. We do think of it as a backyard sport, but now you're helping us bring it to a bigger and more professional level. So that's awesome. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the pickleball here. What are you trying to do with that popular sport?
True. Yeah, because pickleball is gaining popularity and it's the fastest growing sport in the US. So we do want to help communities. For example, there are families which come here, half of them want to play badminton, other half wants to play pickleball.
That's beautiful.
So we have provided them in the same location. And it's a very massive place that we have. It's 65,000 square feet. So the idea is when people want to engage in badminton, if the other half of the family wants to play pickleball, so they have a world-class facility to play pickleball. So we have had hundreds of people who came in, who have signed up to play here. And we have also run tournaments here, and we continue to do so.
That's wonderful. And I think it's very smart to have multiple things going on, again, because you're trying to appeal to the whole family.
True.
And save us that drive time between sports.
Very true.
Talk to me a little bit about the batting cages and your commitment with cricket.
I'm passionate about cricket because I come from India, and it's viewed by more than 2 billion people, which is incredible. Also recently, Team USA had a wonderful run in the World Cup. So it was organized in the US and in the West Indies, that's the islands of Bahamas, Guyana, those places. India won, of course. Sorry, I'm a passionate Indian.
It's okay. It's okay.
In the cricket batting cages, they primarily focus on helping train them before they go outside to the grounds to play. Mm-hmm. The same cage, we also use this for baseball, softball, where we can bring in academies to come and train. We do have few academies where there are international cricketers who are coming and training kids as young as 5-year-olds.
Wow.
So it gives me great pleasure when I see, kids, adults, everyone coming in and engaging in, the batting cages. We have open play where they can come and use our professional bowling machine to practice. So it's incredible to see the community getting engaged around the batting cages as well.
That's awesome. Are there other places that offer a batting cage for cricket versus, say, the traditional baseball, softball?
Yeah, there are new facilities coming up which do provide batting cages, but most of them are limited by the size that they have.
Right.
So we have provided them 120 feet of running space and 25 feet of clear ceilings. So with that kind of height and the width that we have, so people can see how the ball goes. Mm-hmm. Like when you hit the ball, you want to see the trajectory. So we have built that world-class facility where people can enjoy playing and watching how they perform.
That's very important, because batting cages can be wonderful, but they can also give you a false sense of what you're doing.
True.
And you mentioned that you have girls coming to those batting cages and participating in cricket as well.
True. Yeah, the cricket academies that we have, they opened up for both girls and boys, because there is a perception surrounding cricket similar to football that it's only meant for boys.
Right.
And we want to break the stereotype. And we partnered with 2 academies which signed up more girls. We encouraged our parents to, get their girls to train in cricket as well. Anytime we see those girls come here, they hold their bat and they run towards the batting cage. They're not even waiting for us to check them in. So it gives us great pleasure to see them. And we do want Team USA girls to, come up and achieve, wonderful things in the world of cricket as well.
Well, I think it's awesome that you're talking about breaking stereotypes, because I think for more U.S.-based people, we assume that badminton is just for women, but it's both genders outside of the U.S.
Yeah, so when you see the statistic, actually badminton is one such sport where you have a good mix of women and men and kids, girls and boys playing badminton. You see more of that in Asian countries, because badminton is very popular in those countries. Even in many European countries, you see a good mix of girls and boys playing. Probably in the US, because of the high school badminton team only for girls being the norm, that's probably the problem. But most of the badminton community in the US, they are trying to work towards opening up badminton for boys as well.
That's awesome.
So this is a very good sport for both boys and girls, non-contact sport, so you don't have any risk of injury or concussion. So we are trying to promote that so that both genders have equal opportunity to play the sport.
Just to bring it full circle, you've got badminton, you've got pickleball, you've got cricket. Let's talk a little bit. You mentioned just volleyball, so you've got some volleyball going on. What are you doing there? Yeah,
so with volleyball, the other stereotype that we have in the local area is, volleyball is only meant for practice.
Right.
If you want to just go, do an open play, you hardly can find any place for that. We want to break that. We also support throwball, which is very popular with women. So we open up our courts for rentals for people to come in and play on their own, or we also work with academies where they bring in students, like mostly girls. Volleyball is pretty popular here. So academies, they come in and rent the court to play. We also opened up a space for open play throughout the day. Anytime you think of playing volleyball, you can sign up, you can come and enjoy.
That's awesome. And you're also moving ahead with ping pong.
Yes, so that's one part which is missing here. So we were trying to connect with the ping pong community in the local area. We do have up to 6 tables that we can provide them so they can come and engage. And we also want to start training kids and adults in ping pong. Ping pong is a very technical sport, just like badminton and any other sport. So we want to make that more, scientific training, so to say, not just make it a backyard or, probably a basement kind of a sport.
Right.
We want to bring the people into the mainstream ping pong as well.
Well, thank you so much for bringing Play and Thrive to the community. We wish you a lot of luck, and we hope that people just come flying in here.
Thank you so much, Liz, and we hope to, like I said, we want to impact positively in the community and support everyone in the local area.
Welcome back to Business Connection. In studio now is Congregation Beth Shalom. Welcome, Rabbi.
Thank you, Liz. I'm really grateful to be here today.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and how's your first year going?
My first year is going amazing. My wife, Jenny, and my cat, Zeke, and I are really loving moving into Naperville and settling in. And that's what I've tried to do this first year, right, is really immerse myself in the community and get to know our members and really the different subgroups of members, right, from tots to elders to founding members to new members across the spectrum, and to do that in the wider community as well, to be a part of the Naperville Interfaith Leaders Association. I've spoken at various interfaith events and prayer breakfasts and things. So, and in many ways, it's felt like a homecoming for me. I grew up in Salem, Oregon, so very similar size to Naperville. Also a town where there was only one Jewish synagogue that's not Orthodox. I want to name that Naperville has two synagogues. The other is an Orthodox synagogue. But that experience of being in a relatively smaller Jewish community is one that I know well, and I'm excited to be able to share some of that experience with folks here.
That's wonderful. Tell me about what people like about Congregation Beth Shalom.
I think what they love is that we celebrate really that there's many ways to be Jewish and that there's a lot of ways to be in the community. We have about 240 plus households, and we have a real diverse membership. I think sometimes when people think about a synagogue or the Jewish community, what does that mean? We have members who are interfaith, in interfaith families. We have single members. We have divorced members. We have LGBTQ members. We have members of color. And really, we want to be a welcoming place for all the Jews and their beloveds in our community. And aside from things you would think a synagogue does, like worship service, holidays like Hanukkah and Passover, life cycle events from, times of grief and loss to celebration, we do things that celebrate really Jewish culture as well. We have Jewish food events and volunteer events and social events. We have a group that goes bowling every week at Lyle Lanes, right? So
Gotta love it.
We really just want to be a place where any person who is Jewish or Jewish can come and feel connected to the community.
It's wonderful to hear how diverse your congregation is. How do you get them all to work together?
Well, I mean, what religious community or really any community, when you think about storming, norming, performing, right? We always are working to deepen our relationships and make our vision come to life. But we take that work of relationship building very seriously. And so with anyone who comes to our door, it's not about checking off a list of who you are, but really hearing from you about who you are and what brought your family to our community. And then we want to connect you to all of those types of programs you heard about. Maybe your family's really into religious school and learning more about Torah study. Maybe you're already got kids out of the house and they're off at college and you're kind of a single senior living and you're looking to meet, that's when I put you in touch with our prime timers, right? That's what they call themselves. So really trying to weave those networks, meet every person where they are, whether, they've been deeply in a Jewish community before, or this is the first time they're dipping their toe. We are a welcoming place to really begin or deepen that exploration.
That's wonderful. You had mentioned that you have a lot of interfaith families. How do you work with the interfaith families? Because that's
Yes. Well, so the reality of the Jewish landscape in America is that about over 70% of American Jews are in interfaith relationships. And so we have to welcome that because that's who the Jewish community is today. And we have many multicultural, interfaith is a funny term as well. Some families like that term. Others don't describe themselves that way, even though outsiders might use that term for them. But we have lots of adult education classes. We have, classes for children and youth. We have classes to explore conversion. We make sure that every time we have a service, we are not only saying things in Hebrew, but saying things in English, or making sure that transliteration is available so that everyone feels welcome. And we're continuing to think about how we onboard people and really, but we also try to not just be a place that I think is tolerant, but really celebrates. We say a prayer every year at the high holidays, the most holy time of year, that celebrates interfaith families who have chosen to be a part of the Jewish community, which is a real blessing for us.
Tell me a little bit about how Congregation Beth Shalom works with youth and family programming, because after all, you are trying to build a community.
Yes, right. And any, I think, faith community has to take seriously the work of educating its members and including our youngest members, and the importance of that, of being exposed to Jewish culture and Jewish people, particularly somewhere like Naperville and not like Skokie, where there's many, many options in Jewish communities, even Jewish day schools. So people really come to us looking to be a place that is helping support their family in the work of passing on Jewish values and tradition.
What's your philosophy about education?
We want it to be really a whole person learning, right? We want it to touch your head and your heart. And that means that kids are building relationships, that's experiential, right? It's not just opening up a book or sitting at a desk. They're moving their bodies, they're singing songs, they're laughing, they're having fun. So, I think people who are interested at any age in exploring Jewish community and learning, we try to make it life relevant, right? What does a third grader need to know about Judaism that's going to help them in their lives right now, not just sometime down the road?
That's wonderful. As we wrap today, what are you looking forward to in your next year as you celebrate your first year here?
Well, I think I'm really still looking forward to just continuing to deepen relationships. And, I've had that first pass to really get to know most of our members. And now I want to go further, right? And it says in the book of our prophets, in Isaiah, that we should expand the place of our tent and enlarge our tent. And so welcoming everyone in, whether you're out there and you haven't checked us out before, we would welcome you to pay us a visit. So for all of you out there who might be thinking that Congregation Beth Shalom or Exploring Judaism sounds interesting to you, we really encourage you to reach out to us, come to a service, come to a program. Don't be shy. We are looking forward to saying shalom to you.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Rabbi David, for stopping by. Thank you for what Congregation Beth Shalom brings to the Naperville community. It's so important.
Thank you, Liz.
If you're interested in a television appearance on Business Connection, as a way to reach out to your community or to gain exposure to your company, please visit our website to find out more. I'm Liz Spencer, and thank you for watching Business Connection.